Hey everybody, this is Greg Cottle, the Director of Nature Reliance School, and today I'm going to share with you a really incredibly simple but incredibly effective way to stay warm when the temperatures start getting low. So here's the deal that a lot of people just cannot seem to understand, and it is so simple that if you'll listen to me, it'll make your life a lot easier when you're going outside trying to stay warm. And that is, your body is a heater. You take it with you everywhere you go. And if you can set your body up for success to being an efficient and effective heater, you'll have a much more enjoyable, much more warm experience when you go outside in the cold. So here's some things that we got to make sure that we do. When the body starts getting cold, we'll start experiencing that in our feet and our hands first. And the reason that's happening is that our body knows that the most important part of us that needs to stay warm is our organ tissue. Because if our organ tissue fails, then our body fails. And that includes the brain. And so the body will constrict blood flow to the limbs, particularly the hands and the feet, and all the way through the arms and legs too. But particularly we're going to start feeling in our hands and our feet first. And so first off, doing something like this, although that'll give you immediate friction warmth on your hands, is not going to be as effective as doing this. And so if I'm rubbing my arms, I'm going to the outer edge of where that warmth is. But if I stay to my core and I warm up this area where I'm rubbing my core body, then I'm going to increase the temperature to my core. And in so doing, my body will go, oh wow, your core's getting warm, so let's send that blood back out to the hands. And so it seems like the direct contact with the hands, which creates friction, which creates heat, is a good thing, and it is. I'm not saying you can't do that. I'm just saying do what you can to rub your core. Now, with that said, I'm going to go through some basics on how I dress, and you can apply this with the amount of budget you have, which will determine what you want to buy for your body. The reason I say that is because I recognize that there's a vast range of budgets and allowable monies that people can put into gear, whether that gear is just tools or clothing or packs or whatever it might be. And so I try to run the range of budgets when I'm doing videos like this, so you can see basically some things that might be a little bit more expensive, some things that might not be very expensive at all, and so that way we can find some things to meet everyone's budget. So here's what I've got going on as far as clothing is concerned. I'm going to show you what I call my base layer, and in that base layer I've got some pieces, quite frankly, that are fairly expensive. And the reason they're expensive is because, in my opinion, that base layer is the most important. What goes directly against your skin and is laying against your body is absolutely the most important piece of the puzzle. And so there are definitely some alternatives to what I'm going to show you to wear against your skin that are cheaper. However, I have found that these, for me, and it doesn't necessarily be you, for me are the most comfortable that I can find. And when I say comfort, the reason I say that is because if you're not comfortable, your morale's going to go low, and if your morale goes low, you're not going to enjoy your experience in the outdoors. Whether you're deer hunting, turkey hunting, hiking, biking, whatever it is that you're doing outdoors, you're not going to have a nice experience. And so I make sure that my base layer is something that both keeps my body warm as well as makes me comfortable. So starting from the ground up, but I actually don't have my socks with me. Let's talk about this base layer. Now, as far as socks are concerned, what I wear when it's starting to get cooler is merino wool. Merino wool acts as a wicking agent as well as it keeps you warm even when they are wet. So any type of wool that you can wear is a very beneficial material, because again, it keeps you warm and it continues to do that even if it's wet. So with that said, I wear merino wool socks. The next layer that I wear, and this is something I wish I could find an alternative. If you know an alternative, let me know. And this might be too much information, but I wear a pair of Under Armour underwear for the same reason. It wicks moisture, and when it gets wet, it'll continue to insulate you to a degree, okay? I also wear a Under Armour sleeveless t-shirt. And here's why I wear sleeveless. Again, because it is a morale booster. Because if I'm wearing several layers and I wear a t-shirt and then I have another shirt on top of it and then I have the rest of the stuff I'm going to show you, then I get too bunched up in the shoulders and I can't function whatever it is that I'm doing very well. So I wear a sleeveless t-shirt. The key being I want my core to stay incredibly dry, and so that Under Armour helps do that. To top it off, I wear an Under Armour hat. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not going to talk about Under Armour. This is the most expensive pieces of gear that I have. And then I'm going to start getting into the really cheap stuff, which is actually the most important as far as retaining body heat. But again, an Under Armour hat. Under Armour, it doesn't matter what kind of brand you get. Just get something that wicks moisture. Polyester, polypropylene, fleece, something of that nature. I wear Under Armour because Under Armour comes with a fabric that they call Cool Max. And again, it doesn't really matter what the fabric is as long as it wicks moisture. But I have found these hats to be, again, incredibly comfortable to wear. And so it doesn't bother me to wear these long term. It doesn't itch my head. It doesn't make me aggravated. It doesn't give me headaches. And so some of the fleece hats that I've worn and polyester blends and stuff of that nature I've worn, they just make my head itch, and so I don't like them. Under Armour hat, okay? Now, above that, depending on the weather, this is where stuff starts getting real cheap. I just simply wear military surplus polypropylene underwear, long underwear. This stuff is the bomb when the weather starts getting really cold. So this is what they would consider probably really cold weather gear. But I have worn this in cold weather. In cold weather, when in Kentucky, it's not cold like a lot of you, if maybe you're up really far north. But you know, our winters are going to stay, well, man, winters in Kentucky are different. But we can get down to 0 degrees. It's not common, but we're going to stay in the 20s, go all the way up to 40s, 50s through the winter. And so there's quite a range there for us. I wear this polypropylene bottom and top, and I have never gotten cold, even when I'm deer hunting, sitting in a tree stand, or just sitting in the woods all day long and not moving, doing wildlife observation or study or meditation or whatever it is that I'm doing. I've never gotten cold with polypropylene, okay? Now, this particular layer here I like because it has, in essence, a mock turtleneck, comes up about half my neck, which doesn't choke me, again, makes me comfortable, as well as I can unzip it and vent. This venting process is part of the key to maintaining warmth, because if you don't vent, you'll get too hot and sweaty. Okay, now with that said, if I don't have a pair, I've only got one pair of those Under Armour underwear because they're expensive and I can't afford to buy a bunch of pairs of underwear like that. So I just typically wear Fruit of the Loom. But I keep those in my go bag in case something happens, I can put them on. Now with that said, if I don't have them and I needed to do something, I would take my cotton underwear off, okay? I would just get rid of it, because cotton against your skin, cotton kills. Straight up, cotton kills. It holds moisture, which is in turn going to help cool you down, and you do not want that when you're trying to stay warm. My next layer for my legs are, and this is just one pair, but these are just proper Btu pants, and you can get military surplus of different colors. I like the pants that are more polyester than cotton for the same reasons I just mentioned. These I think are 65-35. Yeah, they're 65-35. 65% polyester, 35% cotton. If I could find polyester pants 100% that were inexpensive, I'd be wearing those, but that's as far as my budget can handle as far as clothing is concerned. Again, I think it's most important for that base layer to be what it is it needs to be, and then build up on it and make sure your outer layer is important too. Now, the next piece of the puzzle is I'll either wear one of two jackets or overshirts or sweaters or whatever you want to call it, sweatshirts. The one that I currently have on, because this is really the first really cool day that we've had out here. Wildlife, fancy that, out in the woods. This is a polar fleece, so I either wear a polar fleece shirt or I wear a wool shirt or sweater. This again is military surplus, and these are items, the polypropylene and the wool sweater are items that you can get incredibly cheap. I had this one, you can tell it's got a lot of rips in it. I've had this for years. And so in essence, what you just saw, that base layer with that polypropylene, the pants and the sweater, is what I wear most of the time when it starts getting cold. So beyond that, there's a couple other things that I do to help stay warm, and I'm going to show you those as well. Now the next thing that I added a few years ago, and just makes all the difference, and there's some pros and cons with this. This is a down vest that I think my parents gave me for Christmas one year, that they got from Cabela's, I believe, but it's just a down vest. This one's incredibly hardy. It's almost got like an oilskin surface to it. I do everything in this jacket in the wintertime. That setup that I just showed you, don't worry about this jacket yet, I'll tell you about it in a minute. That setup that I just showed you with the vest is what I wear basically through the winter here in Kentucky. And again, we're not talking about incredibly cold temperatures. I'll add gloves to that depending upon the weather, but the base setup I have, polypropylene, the wool, and then the down vest is pretty much it for me here in Kentucky. That's what I'll wear. And you can verify that if you look back at my videos that I've done in the winter on Dan's Depot or Nature Reliance School, you'll see that that is basically my uniform. I might as well have my name stitched on that stuff because that's my uniform during the winter. I'm sure that my wife gets tired of seeing me in those clothes, but they work. So I've got a couple of those sweaters, I got a couple of pairs of those polypropylene, and I've got a couple of pairs of Btu pants, so I don't have to wear the same thing every day. But really, I just rotate that throughout the winter when I'm going to be doing a lot of stuff outside. And because I run Nature Reliance School, I'm outside a lot. So now another thing that I have is this is a Rothko Spec Ops jacket. I've gotten to where I wear it a lot. Here's why. It provides a wind break. The material that I've showed you thus far doesn't provide a wind break. I had a wool sweater that I had for years that had wind block in it, and it's a fairly expensive sweater, and quite frankly it just makes too much noise. Same thing with this Rothko. It's a nice jacket. I love this jacket. I wear it quite a bit. It sheds a little bit of water. It won't shed water in a deluge of water, but it has fleece lining in it. It does keep the wind off of you. It has plenty of pockets to do all the things that I need to do outside and carry with me when I'm rucking or got a pack on. But it has also included in it pit zips and has the ability to vent. And that's one of the reasons I like this shirt and that jacket, is that if I need to vent, I can unbutton and unzip those. It's not as easy to do that in the wool sweater. I can unbutton to about right here with the sweater and the polypropylene. So those are all considerations for you to help you stay warm. But here's, I want to reiterate before I leave, the most important aspect of this, and that is your body is a heater. And if you can set it up to function the way it was designed to work, it will keep you warm. It is when you throw some things on it or take some things off of it that do not allow it to be a heater, because quite frankly, you can look at those clothes, and if those clothes just sit here, sitting on that old fence, they're not going to heat up. They're not going to magically warm up and you put them on and they're like an electric blanket. The only reason they can function the way that they function is because they work in concert with my body in an appropriate manner. So that's what I try to do. I try to utilize what it is that I've been given by God, and I add to it what man has made. Therefore, those two things will work very well together. So if you thought this video was helpful, then please give us a thumbs up, subscribe to our channel, and recommend that your friends subscribe to our channel, because we really appreciate that. And if you have any questions, or if you have anything that you want to add, some secrets or anything that you might want to throw in there to help people stay warm in the outdoors, then please put them in the comments below, because we feel like we don't have all the answers. We have an answer. We don't pretend to know everything. We have an answer, and we really appreciate people helping all the community of Dan's Depot and Nature Reliance go out, so we can all get outside more and enjoy the outdoors. So come on, join in. Let's learn together.